Cardano is very much based off of two things. One, decentralization, and also the proof of stake or staking mechanism that is designed to keep decentralization in check. Recently, there has been some discussions about decentralization and Cardano's decentralization going down in 2023. I want to talk about these discussions today and also go over some of the staking reward less returns that we're going to see over the next year, and just in general talk about the effects all of these things are going to have on Cardano's network health and decentralization level. So whether you like it or not, Cardano has 74% of all ADA staked back into the network. Now this is a huge number. This is really good. And there is 3,100 pools. This fact often gets rebutted and redistributed over and over again. But of these 3,100 pools and 74% of ADA staked, not all of these pools are producing blocks. Matter of fact, along with rewards going down, only 527 pools have an average than 10 million ADA stakes. So that's not very much, right? This is not all that much. It's 20 billion ADA in total, so that is a lot. But the average ROI over the last 2 months, or in the last 2 months, has been about 3.5%. It's usually be like 4.5%, and in about a year's time, the average ROI will be down to 2.8%. So a decline in staking rewards. This isn't necessarily a terrible thing, but it is going to see how people shift from staking with maybe multi-pool operators to single pool operators, or exchanges to get those higher rewards. Now, if you don't know what that means, basically, stake pools work like this. You need at least about 1.5 million ADA in your stake pool to mint a block, and the more ADA you have in your stake pool, the more you get from this percent and you yield. But also, the more ADA you have in your stake pool, the higher likely it is to mint blocks and be consistent and give your delegates normal rewards. However, one important metric about Cardano is the fixed fee cost. This cost is 340 ADA that the operator makes or takes basically out of the cut. They can't control this. The minimum they can set it to is 340. They take 340 ADA out of all the rewards, even if they're a very small pool, which could be a large chunk of overall rewards, and reduce the delegates' rewards quite a bit and make them not go with that pool, making it hard for the pool to build sustainable growth. But also, this 340 is the minimum, right? You can't set it any lower, and you only get it if you mint a block. And minting a block for a stake pool, they're going to need over 1 million ADA likely to mint them regularly. So this is a major downfall. A lot of people think, I agree, it's not great for decentralization, and it doesn't support smaller pools getting up and running. Even with the tools now, the bootstrap pools, this is still definitely a problem and could use some more flexibility. Because if we look at solo pools, we can see here, this green circle right here is the amount of pools out of these 3,000 that are going to be solo stake pool operators, basically people who are running them by themselves, supposedly on the network trying to make stake pools. Now these are people we want supporting Cardano. The more different actors we have, the larger our attack vector is, meaning it takes more people to coerce to take the network down, and eventually it becomes to a point where it can be taken down. Right now we are pretty good. We have a minimum attack vector of, if we look over here, around 26. It has went up a bit from 23 to 24. 26, for comparison, Ethereum I believe is like 3 or 4. Bitcoin is like 2 or 3. So this is not bad, but it could be a lot better. Now a lot of people are dooming and glooming about this. There's one specific Twitter account that I'll even show you guys today. If you want to see a lot of information on this and just general, a little bit of pessimism. But to be honest, pessimism is okay. It's okay. It's good to criticize, and it's good to think about these things and really not just blindly follow everything. I'm not saying that anyone's opinions are right or wrong. I'm just saying it's okay to look into things and question things in the mechanisms of Cardano, even if you think an absolute genius wrote it and it can be wrong. It's okay to question things, ask about, and see what could we do better. Because as we can see here, these solo stake pools, even though there is 2,000 of them, only make up for 22% of the network stake, even though there's 74% of the network's stake pool. So that right there is kind of a dead giveaway. We have Binance, we have things like Coinbase pools, and we have a bunch of multi-pool operators. But the main thing here is that these solo stake pools do not take up that much of the network stake, considering they're 75% of the stake pools. The more successful solo pools we have, the higher Cardano's MAV can likely go up, because this will take away stake from the multipool operators that are bigger, and also hopefully take some power away from Binance. The less percent they have in the network, the better. And just in general, more stake pools that are solo entities or separate entities, the better. Now, some of the takes on this topic are a bit far-fetched in my opinion. Maybe, honestly, some of them, you never know. I'm not saying that these things can't happen, and if we put decentralization to a vote right now, it would be a bad idea, or essentially suicide for Cardano. I don't know what would happen for sure, because you can't tell the future, but it is a little bit scary to think that if we go here, Binance has a lot of stake in the network. 10% of the network of Cardano's stake is on Binance. Now, this can be said for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Binance holds so much of both of those too. But in general, the thing is here, we don't want to be Bitcoin and Ethereum. We want to be different. We want to be Cardano. We want things to work better than everybody else. Okay, so that's what we're striving for here. Keep that in mind when we're looking at things like this. But is this a downhill for 2023 Cardano? And what do you think Cardano's MAV is going to be or drop to in 2023, if it is to drop rather than go up? And this is a pretty important question. As we can see here, Cardano's rewards are going to drop to around 2.8%, estimated by Eternal. I do think this is right. It's pretty on track for what we can see over the past year. And then 2 years, Cardano's rewards have went down significantly, but still a fair liquid ROI of 2.8% is pretty incentivizing. And at the same time, everybody who's staking with the network, whether you're staking with a single stake pool, my stake pool Jack, or someone else, you are voting for those people to use your ADA to mint blocks. Okay, the more ADA someone has in a pool, a higher likelihood of minting blocks. However, back to the MAV topic, the minimum attack vector, basically how many entities make up over 50% of the network stake, and then how many of that count of entities, how many of them would be needed to essentially coerce Cardano into doing a double spend. And for Cardano, that is around 26. So that's pretty good. Essentially, you would need 26 different people. If we go to the circle, you would need Binance, Avengers, and all the next biggest people rounding to 26. So it would be pretty hard right now. But let's say this goes down to 12. This goes down to 15. Because that could happen if Binance or these other big multi-pool operators take more control and they grow. Now, I don't think this is necessarily going to happen. Binance may get bigger, some of the exchanges may get bigger, which is ultimately not the worst case scenario, but it's not good. We don't want to see them get bigger. We would rather see this stake go into even multiple operators over Binance, or people who run multiple pools. But ideally, people who only run one pool, people who are their own entity, and the more we have of that, and the less we have of Binance and multiple operators, the more we can have of that, the more decentralized Cardano is. And that's what we're pushing for here in Cardano's MAV, going up rather than down. However, the argument is that the incentives for Cardano right now are not so great, and they don't support single pool operators, or more operators than less operators. Right now, there's only 500, as I mentioned, pools over 10 million stake. So I'm not even in this category. And that is the category where you have a lot more control over the network, the more ADA you have staked. So this is the bang for your buck. And there's only 527 pools that have 10 million ADA staked. And the rest of pools are kind of scrounging for that extra ADA over top of that mark. Now, I want to let you guys know, I don't know what's going to happen to Cardano's MAV. I do think some adjustments are needed for Cardano's stake pool mechanism and the incentives here. I don't think we're going to go down much in MAV, just because for the most part, multi-pool operators have it now. Found it harder and harder to gain more stake as the competition is more and more fierce. But also, I don't think much is going to change on the single stake pool operator front, as long as we have such a competitive market, and also incentives kind of against people running or starting a pool now. So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Let me know your comments down in the description, and I will see you guys later.